got plugged on the speed dial. I live my life fast, my foot on the gas, I live what I dream now. And you mad cause I brag, I go get the bag, they know I'm a cash cow. For my haters, I ball out. Got the money, don't need the clout.
What's up guys, this is Kevin. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be going over how to use D.Va's ult to her maximum potential, and so you can maximize her potential in game and get the most out of her ult. So this has been a long requested video by you guys, and it was a part of the full D.Va guide video that I did maybe a few weeks earlier, but today we're just going to focus on the ult itself and go a bit more in depth with how to use the ult. Now, if you guys like this type of content, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe for more. Also join that Discord with the link in the description below. I'm always in the server if you guys want to talk to me, and enjoy the rest of the video. Alright, so before we look at some of the good D.Va clips that I got from using her ult and getting quadruple or quintuple kills, you first need to get the main idea of using D.Va's ult. It doesn't have to get kills. That's the main idea. A lot of people stress out they wait on the ult so long to wait for that perfect opportunity to throw the bomb at them because they want that quadruple kill or quintuple kill. But the thing is, you don't need to get kills all the time. Sometimes in competitive games, you're not going to get a quintuple kill. Everyone's smart enough to run away from it. Because, let's be honest, the ult's not that hard to get away from. It has a 3-second explosion time before it actually explodes. And, you know, it's really easy to just find cover in 3 seconds in a competitive game. Unless the map was just, not good for avoiding D.Va's ult. So, if you're getting 1 or 2 kills with the ults, whether you're in competitive game or not, it's already good enough. 1 or 2 is already good enough to clear some space for your team to move in. It's also good enough if you have 0 kills, if you're clearing space on a capture point, or if you're getting everyone off the payload when you're really close to the enemy spawn. So you don't need to get kills. You only need it to clear space so your team can move in, or you can get 1 or 2 kills, and that's still good enough because you're still changing up, how the enemy team is going to play when they're down 1 or 2 players. So that's one main idea. The other idea is that you have to use it appropriately according to the situation. What I mean by that is where are your enemies positioned and where are you positioned? So in this first clip, you're gonna see me throw the mech straight up, and then it'll land straight down, and you see a quadruple kill in the process. Take a look at this clip. Yeah, there's a quadruple kill. I threw it straight up a payload and it went straight down. Sometimes you do want to just place on the payload, but that might not get you better results. Throwing it up might give enemies less options to hide from it, which is why I threw it straight up. And normally, this is only used when a payload is at overtime, when you actually need a huge ult like that. You don't throw it straight up when you have 5 minutes left. You're not going to throw it straight up because that's just a waste, because throwing it straight up, people are going to really notice it. But in overtime, when there's a lot going on, then people aren't really going to notice it, and they're going to have a hard time hiding from it. So I know this is a montage, but yeah, this is a good situation where you do want to throw it up, and this is really a good example of how that would work, especially in an overtime portion of a game. Okay, so before we move on to the next few tips, I just want to tell you guys that if the enemy team has an Immortality field or just anything that could save their team in general, like in this clip, as you can see in this clip, if we go here, there is a Baptiste Immortality field in the way right here. So what you want to do is you want to bait out any immortality abilities on the enemy team that could save everyone on their team from your ult, because if you ult and then they just save everyone, it's a waste. So you have to make sure no one has those abilities on the enemy team. That includes Lucio's ult as well, Kiriko Suzu, Baptiste Immortality field. If Symmetra has a shield, be sure not to pop it because everyone could just go to the other side. And you just have to keep in mind can the enemy abilities save your team, save their team from your ult? And if yes, how are you going to bait them out? For Baptiste or Kiriko, you want to damage the enemy team completely and just pick off a few of their teammates so you can bait them to use their abilities. That's that's how you bait out these abilities, right? For Lucio's ult, it might be a bit tougher. It's the same with Symmetra's ult as well, but that's just something you have to work on. You have to ask yourself, is there anyone on the other team that has these abilities that could potentially save them from your ult? So, as you can see in this clip, we had to destroy the Immortality field, and right away after that, I could get my 5k. Just like that. So, yeah, just keep in mind, if you don't see if you don't see them pop out an immortality ability, just assume that they have it, and you just have to keep pressuring them to use it, and at some point you're gonna bait them out and you're gonna be free to ult after that. So yeah, just a little tip there. And also playing against someone with shields is pretty tough because Reinhardt and Winston can save their team completely with their shield, and these shields are just like, they don't have that long of a cooldown, so baiting out their cooldown isn't the best idea here. If you're playing against someone with shields, it's best to just communicate to your team to help you destroy the barrier before you ult, because then they can't really shield their team from your ult, so then you can maximize your potential with your ults. Alright, so this next clip is probably one of those classic ways to use a D.Va bomb, and it is the arc way, where you throw the bomb in an arc from far away, and this usually lands you a good 3 to 4 kills, and this one I got 5 somehow. But yeah, remember that D.Va bombs are really easy to avoid, but on some maps they are not easy to avoid because there's a lot of open space. And the reason why you throw it in an arc, and the reason why it's a classic way to use it, is because when the bomb explodes right above the enemy's heads, that limits, how much space they have to hide from the bomb, so then you can maximize the amount of kills you get. But still, remember, you don't always have to get kills with the bomb. You just have to try your best to clear some space and to try to get 1 or 2 kills. So let's take a look at this clip. As you notice, it exploded right above that little pole there. This is Circuit Royale. Circuit Royale is a really good map for D.Va ults because it's really wide open. If you guys want me to do videos on the best ulting spots for every single map, then let me know in the comments below, because I am thinking about that. I know some really good spots for push maps and payload maps and control maps, so let me know if you want that. But as you can see, I got a quintuple kill here, and it exploded right above the enemy's heads, which really limited where they could hide. And they were in a bad position for my ults to get kills because they were really wide open there. So this is a good example of when you should throw your mech in an arc to get the kills. And it's just a classic way to do it. If you're that far away from the enemy, they will see it coming, but if they're in a bad spot, then yeah, there's not much they can do from it. But again, this is a good example of throwing the arc in a classic way to get your quintuple kill, or if you can't kill the tank, a quadruple kill. But yeah, this is a good example of that. Alright, so before we get into this clip, I want to make something clear. You don't want to shoot your exploding mech from high ground into lower ground, because what that does is people are obviously going to see it, and if it's not exploding above the enemy's heads, they're going to have a lot of options to hide from it, because if it's just sitting there on the ground exploding, they're easily just going to find a really short wall that could be slightly taller than the mech, and they could just hide behind that. So that's not a good idea. It's not going to clear space, and it's not going to get you kills, and that's just a waste. So if it doesn't fill out either of these goals of D.Va's bomb, then it's a bad ult, and I consider it a waste. But in this clip, as you see, I'm going to be shooting the mech straight into the enemy lines and pushing them back a little. So this is a good situation for doing this, because they're in a compact space, and I went too far. But as you can see here, it's Lijiang Tower's tunnel right here. It's my least favorite map, but as you can see, they're in a tunnel right now, and so they're not going to be able to run from it as easily since they're all smack dab in the middle of the tunnel and there's nowhere to go. However, Ramatra might be able to survive this because he went to this side over here, so he can survive it, or he can just shield it. But that's why it's a quadra kill, because Ram didn't die. So I got the 4 squishies that were in the tunnel, and I'm pretty sure they exploded somewhere near the point, and that's just a good prediction because that's where I know they're gonna run. So with just enough momentum, the mech explodes right after the tunnel ends, and that's how I got them. Here's another good example of throwing it straight at the enemy. So this is also close to a tunnel-like area. You notice how they're all in this. It's not a big tunnel, but as you can see, Ramatra is going to escape from here. But everyone else, look what happens. They're getting pushed back by the mech. So they're going to be out of the tunnel. They can't follow the Ramatra and stay safe. And so they're in that open area behind this, little area here. And now I hit him with a bye-bye. It's something I just like to do if you guys, it's just for fun, but you don't have to do that. It's just for a little disrespectful, moment. And there's my quadruple kill. Because now there's nowhere to hide. The next it's going to explode right away after that. So Tracer can't get away from it. Junkrat probably can't jump far away from it. And there's a quadruple kill. So like the big takeaway here is just ults depending on the situation. That's how you ult. That's how you decide like which path your mech wants to take. If it's overtime and your payload needs to be contested, throw it straight up. If you have your boosters, and drop down so it explodes, and that's what you want to do there. If it's mid game and there's some time left for the payload to push and you're like really far away from it, you want to throw it in the arc the classic way. It's like considered the best way to ult with D.Va, but you know, still it depends on the situation. You don't want to throw it in the arc when you're in overtime and get 0 kills, right? And lastly, you want to throw it straight at the enemy when they're in a tight space, or when you want to push them out of a tight space into an open space. That way you can secure some kills there as well. But all in all, you don't always have to get kills with the ult. The main goal of it is to just get some space for your team cleared up so they can move in, or just to get 1 or 2 kills in the process. That's also fine. But no matter what, you don't want to shoot it straight down from high ground. And, you know, obviously that's not going to complete either goal. You also don't want to leave it just sitting down on the ground with no booster momentum. That's not going to do anything either. Unless you have no boosters at the end of an overtime payload game, then you just leave it on the payload and hope for the best from there. So just remember the 3 paths that you have to take with D.Va's ult. It all depends on the situation. And if you use all these tips in game, I guarantee you'll probably ult better with D.Va and maximize the potential of using an ult. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know if you guys want to know like the best ulting spots for each map. I am, you know, considering doing that again. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.